Hello, everyone. 5 signs a woman is selfish and quietly lowering your value. You're always the one who reaches out first. You rearrange your schedule, manage her emotions, and try to keep everything running smoothly because that's what you believe a good man is supposed to do. Yet deep down, something feels off. Have you ever had the sense that the more you give, the less valued you become? That's where most men get it wrong. She isn't treating you poorly enough to make you walk away just subtly enough to keep you emotionally invested. There's no obvious conflict, no dramatic disrespect. Instead, it's a quiet drain on your time, your energy, and your standards. The truth is, she may not be openly toxic, but she's slowly conditioning you to accept less without you even realizing it. There are subtle patterns that reveal when someone is acting selfishly in a relationship. Ignore them, and you risk not only losing the relationship, but also losing yourself in the process. What matters isn't the obvious red flags, it's the hidden psychological dynamics that often go unnoticed. Let's reset something important. This isn't really about her, it's about what you tolerate. Many men mistake attraction for compatibility. They assume that if there's chemistry, if she's beautiful, if she makes them feel something intense, then the relationship must be right. But that's not true. Attraction simply means you're emotionally engaged. It doesn't guarantee that the dynamic is healthy. In fact, emotional attachment often grows stronger not through consistency, but through inconsistency. There's a concept in psychology called intermittent reinforcement, when rewards are unpredictable. Attachment actually becomes stronger. Attraction simply means you're emotionally engaged. It doesn't guarantee that the dynamic is healthy. In fact, emotional attachment often grows stronger not through consistency, but through inconsistency. There's a concept in psychology called intermittent reinforcement, when rewards are unpredictable. Attachment actually becomes stronger. You start analyzing, adjusting, and overthinking. You replay conversations, become more attentive, and invest more effort not because she earned it, but because you're trying to get back to that version of her. That's the trap. You're not building a genuine connection, you're responding to a pattern. A cycle where just enough reward keeps you hooked, but never enough consistency makes you feel secure. So understand this clearly. You don't actually miss her, you miss how she made you feel when she chose to show up. And if you don't recognize that difference, you'll keep repeating the same pattern with different people. Because the real issue isn't her behavior, it's the standards you're willing to lower just to feel something. One of the first signs is that she conditions you to prioritize her needs. She doesn't demand it outright, that would be too obvious. Instead, she creates an environment where things feel easier when you adjust to her. When she wants attention, you're expected to be available. When she needs reassurance, you provide it immediately. But when you need something, your needs are delayed, minimized, or ignored. Over time, you stop expressing yourself. You convince yourself it's not a big deal, when, in reality, you're being trained to put her first while your own needs become optional. Another pattern is that she only shows up when it benefits her. She reaches out when she's bored, stressed, or needs validation. In those moments, you feel important. But when her life is full and she's emotionally satisfied elsewhere, you fade into the background. The connection feels real during the highs, so you hold on to them, ignoring the inconsistency. This creates a cycle where you start chasing those moments, adjusting your behavior in hopes of bringing them back. But the reality is, those moments happen on her terms, not because of anything you did. Then there's the way she avoids accountability. When you calmly express a concern, the conversation somehow shifts. Instead of addressing her actions, it becomes about your tone, your reaction, or your timing. Suddenly, you're the one explaining yourself. Then there's the way she avoids accountability. When you calmly express a concern, the conversation somehow shifts. Instead of addressing her actions, it becomes about your tone, your reaction, or your timing. Suddenly, you're the one explaining yourself. Another paradox appears. The more you give, the less she respects you. It goes against what most people are taught, but constant availability removes your perceived value. When she knows you'll always be there no matter how she behaves, your presence no longer feels meaningful, it feels guaranteed. And people don't value what feels guaranteed. Instead of pulling back and recalibrating, many men double down, giving even more in hopes of fixing things. But that only reinforces the imbalance. Finally, a selfish partner may resist your growth. At first, she admires your ambition. But when that ambition turns into discipline and focus, tension begins to appear. She may complain that you've changed or that you don't have enough time for her. On the surface, it sounds like she misses you, but in reality, your growth reduces her control over you. Instead of supporting your progress, she subtly pulls you back, creating a conflict between your goals and the relationship. Over time, if you keep choosing her comfort over your growth, you don't just lose momentum, you lose yourself. Here's the hard truth. This dynamic didn't just happen, you allowed it. Not out of weakness, but through small compromises that gradually became patterns. You tolerated inconsistency, ignored red flags, and adjusted your standards until the situation felt normal. That's how these patterns take hold slowly, through repetition. But the same way you allowed it, you can change it. Not by trying to fix her, but by raising your standards and setting boundaries. Standards determine who gets access to you. Boundaries determine who gets to stay. So the real question is, what costs you more, staying in a situation where you're slowly losing yourself, or walking away and reclaiming your self-respect? Because once you see the pattern clearly, everything changes. You stop chasing attention and start recognizing value. You stop trying to prove yourself and start choosing who deserves your presence. That's the shift from reacting to consciously deciding. And remember this, the right person won't require you to shrink yourself just to maintain the relationship. They won't ask you to sacrifice your identity or suppress your growth. Instead, they'll meet you where you stand and grow alongside you. If any part of this resonates, don't ignore it. Awareness is the first step, because once you truly see the pattern, you can't unsee it.